Hello. Hi, Libra. How are you today? So, I'm going to go ahead and pull cards today regarding the transits with Neptune going into Aries with this 13 or 14-year cycle, as well as the upcoming transit of Saturn and Neptune conjunction in Aries. I'm going to go ahead and pull some cards on how this energy is going to start affecting you um, going forward. So, with that being said, with these conjunctions for air signs, this more so hits. This is interesting for you guys because this attacks you in your day to day life through more so your mental, your mind, and also directly through other people. So for Libras, you guys, when it comes down to you, the themes for you guys with this transit, it's mostly going to affect your relationships, the balance. Like nope, like not to be so literal because you guys are the scales, but how you balance yourself, people pleasing ways, and also how you define yourself through people, through the relationships you have in your life. With that being said, I got four cards. I got the Death card, the Emperor, Four of Cups, and the Knight of Swords. For you, Libra, you're going to be called to recognize where there have been power imbalances or relationship dynamics that might not be in your best interest. You're going to be called to release those and let those relationships, attachments go. It's going to be hard to ignore with these transits. Instead of going with the flow and trying to keep the peace or just trying to maintain, just to maintain, you will find yourself feeling more like displeased or unsatisfied with the people around you if these relationships that you have are imbalanced in terms of what you give and what you put out. And also through self-expression, is Libra able to be themselves around these people, or are you always trying to figure out what parts of yourself you can show, what parts of yourself you need to hide when it comes down to how you deal with people? Libra, you're being asked, where have you been compromising your identity to keep the peace during this transit? And it's going to be hard to ignore with these transits. So that's how it's showing up. That's how these transits are showing up for you guys in your life. It's coming through other people, if that makes sense. That's where Saturn is at when it comes down to how this transit is going to affect you. That's what Saturn is really asking you. With Neptune is asking you, where have you been compromising with love? Is it love, or is it an attachment? Is it codependence? Is it a relationship where you got too comfortable and you're scared to let go and move forward? That's what that's what Neptune is asking you when it comes down to these transits, especially with this Emperor to this Four of Cups. It's like, Libra, you're in a place where you're selling yourself short and you're cutting yourself up into pieces. And these transits together are asking you to make yourself whole and put it through action. That's what this is. So during this phase, Libra, you're going to be pushed to become more independent. You're no longer here to keep the peace just to keep the peace. You're going to learn how to be more assertive through this transit. So with that being said, you should expect endings, especially with this death card here. Yeah, expect some breakups, but also some breakthroughs. Expect some relationships to end. Expect some relationships to be redefined. Because through you being more assertive, I do see you exploring more of yourself, more aspects of yourself that you've probably been suppressing, whether it be through sexual exploration, whether it be through dating different kinds of people, whether it be through you just going through life and actually taking on the adventures that you've been wanting to take on, but you've been holding it back because how other people or what other people might want you to do. I'm talking to Libras who have been actually, you allow other people to tell you who you are, not necessarily that exactly, but there's like this level of projection that people put onto you that you take on. If they say that you're a superwoman, you're going to be a superwoman. If they say that you're a doctor today, you're going to be that doctor that they're projecting onto you. If you're that person that did this for them in their eyes, you're gonna allow them to define you that way. But that's what's stripping away during this phase, during these transitions for you. And with you calling, and with you being more assertive and calling, yes, calling back your power, but also balancing out what you're giving versus what you're receiving, do expect to bring in more equal partnerships. So with that being said, with the ones that you let go, you're going to be putting yourself out there enough to so that you're able to attract people in your life who are able to reciprocate the same things that you can do, and not have any shame towards it. There's no holding back and there's no excuses when it comes down to Libra going forward, because you're able to attract partners and people and friends in your life that can actually meet you where you are. And then you have better boundaries going into this, that these transits are forcing you to see what is necessary for Libra to have a successful, happy relationship, especially with this Knight of Swords energy. With that being said, you are going to be putting yourself out on Front Street. You're going to be calling not only your identity into question, but also through, again, not necessarily a physical glow up, but there's going to be some internal change that ultimately changes how you see life and how you see yourself in life. You're going to make yourself more so of a main character in your life, instead of just stepping back to hold back just because you didn't want to express this kind of anger. You didn't want to make these people kind of mad because you didn't want this person to feel any kind of way about this. You're no longer going to feel that way. Okay, so Libra, that is your reading, and I love you all. Hope you have a great day.